Your brain is the most valuable and powerful leadership tool you're ever going to have access to. And if you're not training it regularly, it is for sure underdeveloped and underutilized. We're all aware of the benefits of exercise, of physical training to the health of our bodies, right? And I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you're probably someone who also understands and appreciates the benefits of exercise and physical fitness to your emotional health as well. You probably actively engage in regular exercise to get these benefits. Do you take the same approach to your brain health? Do you actively train your brain to make it stronger and faster? Many of us don't. Think about this. We know that with repetition, specific exercises can produce specific changes in our bodies. We also know that if we want to create changes in our body, we can't just talk to a trainer or read a book about it. We have to actually engage in those exercises repeatedly and consistently for weeks or even months. It works the exact same way for mind fitness. If you want to optimize your brain to elevate your leadership, you can't just read about it or watch a video about it and expect anything to change, at least not significantly, and certainly not in a way that's going to be lasting. And just like with physical fitness, the goal of mind fitness training isn't to master the exercises you're doing to build strength and resilience, but to develop generalizable capacities we use every day in leadership. So things like attention, focus, mental agility, situational awareness, self-regulation, and emotional intelligence. Building a stronger brain is also a protective measure. A fit mind is better equipped to effectively respond to challenging situations. You're much better able to stay out of a flight, fight, or freeze response altogether. And when you do find yourself in one, you're able to recognize it pretty quickly and shift out of it much faster. It's now widely known that the brain changes throughout our lifetime. It constantly rewires itself in response to our repeated experiences. This concept is known as neuroplasticity. So your brain is constantly making meaning and creating those new neural connections. Whether it's intentional or not, it is always happening. It even happens as a result of repetitive thought patterns and chronic stress responses. Your repetitive thoughts, your thinking habits actually change the physical structure of your brain. But you can train your brain to become stronger and more resilient, just like you train your body. This is self-directed neuroplasticity. It's the act of consciously and intentionally changing your own brain activities and strengthening those neural connections to interrupt old habits and create new ones. I always say that anything thought, felt, or done with repetition is just a habit, and you can change any habit. Our habits create our results. This includes our thinking habits. Actually, our thinking habits probably have the biggest impact on our results because how we think determines how we feel, and everything we do and don't do is influenced by how we feel. Training your brain is about creating new habits to build a stronger and healthier brain. It's about creating the inner change through mindset and nervous system regulation to sustain outer change, which are those new behaviors. And just in case you're still not convinced, allow me to paint a picture of what happens when you don't intentionally train your brain. Every time we worry about a negative event, for example, we activate the amygdala. That's the part of our survival brain responsible for unconscious threat processing. And because the survival brain doesn't really know the difference between a threat to our safety and a threat to our ego, it triggers a stress response that causes a dysregulated nervous system, kicking us into a flight, fight, or freeze response. And you cannot function at your best. You cannot be the best leader when you're in this kind of stress response. What's important to know is that over time, as worrying actually becomes a habit, this part of the brain becomes hypersensitive to worry and the associated stress response, prompting even more anxiety and fueling a vicious cycle. The repetition of any habit, including thinking habits, makes it easier to do and harder not to do these things again in the future. So the more you worry, the more you worry. Now you're probably worrying about worrying, right? But seriously, this has powerful implications in both beneficial and detrimental ways. Your awareness and focus is what determines whether you're training your brain in a way that is good or bad for your leadership. You can continue to allow your brain to train itself around common leader thinking habits like worrying, ruminating, people pleasing, compare and despair, and overwhelm, all of which reduces our ability to engage in critical leadership activities like problem solving, decision making, effective communication, and influence. Or you can optimize your brain through training for mind fitness the same way you do to optimize your physical health. But how? Every repeated experience matters. Therefore, which experiences we choose to repeat, either consciously or unconsciously, are changing our mind body system. That is our brain and nervous system. The only thing that is truly in our control when it comes to our leadership is where, when, and how we direct our attention and whether we're directing it intentionally. The main tool I use with my coaching clients to train their mind body system is the model because it allows us to train the brain in three very important ways. The first being mindset, which is interrupting those thinking habits that are keeping you stuck or probably even causing harm, and replacing them with new thinking habits. This is self-directed neuroplasticity through intentional thought work. It's about learning how to become the boss of your own brain. The second way is through energetics work. These are exercises to regulate your nervous system and ensure you're better equipped to remain calm and focused in stressful and uncertain situations. So things like progressive relaxation, breathing exercises, mental rehearsal, and mindfulness practices like meditation all fit into this category. The third way is probably what you're most accustomed to. This is skill set training. So this is more traditional leadership development on things like processes, models, step-by-step approaches to leading people and teams, things like that. It's the nuts and bolts of leadership, and I promise you, you will be able to do it with so much more ease when you combine it with mindset and energetics work. Training your brain really is the difference maker in your ability to make substantial and sustainable improvements to your leadership and in turn to the performance of your team. I'll leave you with one simple way to get started with this work, specifically with the mindset element, as that really is the most direct way to train your brain. Whenever you feel yourself getting frustrated or annoyed or overwhelmed, really any emotion that you know isn't great for your ability to lead effectively, ask yourself the following questions. Why do I feel this way? And I want you to actually write down the answer. So ask, why do I feel this way? Write down your answer. Then take a look at your answer. What are the facts of the situation? What is the story I'm telling myself? So actually go back through what you wrote down and highlight all the facts, those things that are objectively true. My guess is that you will find very few objectively true facts in your answer. And this is actually really great news because while you probably don't have much or even any control over the facts of the situation, you have 100% control over the story that you're telling yourself. That means you get to decide on purpose if that current story is adding any value. Is it helping you be a better leader? And if not, change it. Just change your thoughts. This exercise is just one really simple way to train your brain. It's simply taking control of where, when, and how you direct your attention, and doing so with intention so you're creating new thinking habits on purpose. There is obviously a lot more work that can be done here. So if you want more support in optimizing your brain through mindset, skill set, and energetics training and coaching, reach out to me to learn more about how we can work together.